Good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Saraya Mia. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has announced a pay hike of more than 13% for civil servants, the highest in the country's history. Speaking during the National Level Labour Day celebrations, Anwar said the new salary scheme for civil servants would take effect in December this year.
Paling tinggi dalam sejarah kenaikan di negara ini adalah 13%. Pada tahun ini saya akan umumkan bahawa kenaikan itu lebih tinggi dari 13%. Dan cuma yang meningkat ialah bahawa untuk tahun depan bila kita mulakan pelaksanaan ini, dia akan mencecah lebih dari 10 bilion ringgit. Kerana jumlahnya besar dan kenaikannya itu agak lumayan kerana kenaikan terbaik dalam sejarah.
Anwar, who is also Finance Minister, added that the overall minimum pay for civil servants must also reach more than 2,000 ringgit. Anwar then called for the private sector to follow the government's footsteps in providing better increments to its employees. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil said details regarding the salary increase for civil servants would be announced during the tabling of the 2025 budget in October this year. Meanwhile, Anwar announced that the Sabah and Sarawak governments had agreed to amend their state's labour ordinances to be standardised with the Employment Act 1955 used in the peninsula. He said the amendments would be tabled at the next Parliament sitting. Anwar said the move would have plenty of benefits for employees in Sabah and Sarawak, among which are longer maternity leave from 60 to 98 days, as well as 7 paternity leave days in line with the Act.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister slammed those who accuse him of approving a casino license for Forest City in Johor. He said he had never heard of such proposal, even suggesting for those involved in spreading the fake news to be put behind bars.
Kasino di Johor. Apa benda ni? Tak pernah saya dengar, tak pernah orang usulkan. Memang terlibat Forest City yang ada kepentingan yang Tuan Agong. Bahawa dunia mahal yang Tuan Agong tak pernah pun menyebut kepada saya minat nak adakan perjudian di sana. Tidak pernah. Dari mana? Dari penjahat-penjahat sebenarnya. Jadi mereka ini sepatutnya ganti bilik-bilik saya di Sungai Buloh dulu.
Bloomberg had earlier reported that Anwar had met with Berjaya founder Vincent Tan and Genting Group's Lim Kok Teh to discuss opening a casino in Forest City to revive the 478 billion ringgit property project. All of them, as well as Johor Menteri Besar Dato' On Hafiz Ghazi, had denied the claim.
In other news, Rapid Rail Sendirian Berhad has expanded its payment systems to allow credit and debit cards to be used at all its stations. The cards can be used to purchase tickets as well as top-up touch-and-go cards and My50 and My City passes effective yesterday.
Rapid Rail in a statement said the cards can be used at all customer service counters at the stations and are meant to complement the existing cash and QR code payment methods. It said the new payment methods were also available at Rapid KL concession card registration counters at Pasar Seni and Conley MRT station in Kuala Lumpur. The introduction of the new payment method, said Rapid Rail, was in line with its commitment to upgrade its purchasing system and give commuters a more positive travel experience when using Rapid KL services.
Now, the Transport Ministry is closely monitoring the latest volcanic eruptions at Mount Ruang, Indonesia, after it was reported to have erupted 3 times yesterday. Minister Anthony Loke said any decision including the closure of airspace in any national airport would be decided by the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, taking into account safety factors.
Loke said the eruption has affected some airspace in Tawau, Sabah, causing some flights to the district to be diverted to Kota Kinabalu yesterday. Several local airlines have also issued travel advisory for any changes in flight scheduling in the past 24 hours. with AirAsia recently cancelling 21 flights to and from Kuching, Cebu and Bintulu following the eruption. Indonesia's Ruang volcano erupted on Tuesday, spewing lava and ash more than 5 kilometers into the sky, prompting authorities to raise the alert status and evacuate more than 12,000 people living on a nearby island.
Time for a quick break. We'll be right back.
Abang ni tak habis-habis ulang benda sama je. Abang macam ada sorokkan sesuatu daripada Dian.
Kebenaran semakin jelas.
Dian bahagia.
Kenapa Abang Am tanya dia macam tu?
Saya takkan sia-siakan peluang ini.
Perbuatan Rif ni umpama menipu Dian hidup-hidup. Saya sedar dia benci Rif lebih pada sebelumnya.
Nasihat atau hasutan cemburu.
Sebab itu dia tak tahu. Perangai dia jadi macam tu sebab dia tengah mengandung ni ke?
Takdir itu milik aku di Astro Ria dan Astro Girl.
Seterusnya, peminjam Perbadanan Tabung Pendidikan Tinggi Nasional atau PTPTN digesa merebut peluang insentif diskaun bayaran balik pinjaman.
Fenomena equinox menjadikan bumi dan matahari berada pada jarak paling dekat dalam sistem solar.
Malaysia berjaya membanteras jenayah berkaitan dadah bernilai RM990 juta sejak 2019.
Jangan meletakkan harapan tinggi berhubung soal mencari jawapan pesawat Malaysia Airlines MH370 yang hilang 10 tahun lepas.
Welcome back. Around 1,500 workers marched through Dataran Merdeka today to demand greater workers' rights. They called for an increase in the minimum wage to 2,000 ringgit, equal rights for migrant workers, and an end to their exploitation, among others. Meanwhile, across Asia, workers and activists also took to the streets in their respective capitals to mark Labor Day on May 1st.
In Seoul, thousands of protesters were seen chanting anti-government slogans and demanding President Yoon Suk-yeol to step down as they marched through downtown streets. Trade union members had previously denounced Yoon's veto in December of a bill that would have limited companies' rights to claim compensation for damage caused by union strikes. Similar May Day rallies were held in more than 10 locations across South Korea on Wednesday, but there were no reports of violence. In Japan, more than 10,000 people gathered in Tokyo's Yoyogi Park to demand pay rises in line with inflation. They say dwindling wages have left many workers in the country in dire straits and widened income inequality. Over in Manila, the Philippines, hundreds of workers and left-wing activists marched in the heat to call for job security and higher wages amid soaring food and oil prices. However, riot police stopped demonstrators from getting close to the presidential palace.
Meanwhile, police in New York City have arrested dozens of pro-Palestinian demonstrators from the Columbia University campus, nearly 24 hours after they occupied an academic building. A spokesperson said the campus was cleared of protesters within 3 hours, including a 2-week-old tent camp on the university lawn.
The NYPD officers entered the occupied building, Hamilton Hall, through a second-story window on Tuesday night. Columbia had authorized the raid after demonstrators ignored a deadline to disperse. The university's president also requested police to remain on campus to maintain order until at least May 17th, 2 days after graduation. The protesters had been seeking 3 demands from Columbia: divestment from companies that support the Israeli government, greater transparency in university finances, and amnesty for students and faculty disciplined over the protests. Universities across the US have been gripped by similar rallies as students call for a boycott of companies and individuals with ties to Israel amid the war in Gaza.
Japanese authorities arrested 2 individuals, including a South Korean man, in connection with a case of 2 burnt bodies found in Tochigi Prefecture north of Tokyo earlier this month. Police said this brings the total number of suspects arrested to 4.
The bodies were discovered on April 16th and have been identified as 55-year-old company executive Ryutaro Takarajima and his 56-year-old wife Sachiko Takarajima. Kang Kwang-ki, a 20-year-old South Korean national, and Kirato Wakayama, also 20, were arrested on suspicion of damaging the corpses that were discovered on a riverside in the town of Nasu. Kang and Wakayama have said they were not acquainted with the couple or familiar with the prefecture. However, according to police, they allegedly conspired with two other suspects, 28-year-old Hikaru Sasaki and 25-year-old Ryoken Hirayama, who were arrested in late April to burn the bodies of the victims.
The number one household task that South Koreans wish to outsource is the maintenance of household appliances. This is based on research by LG Electronics. Many also desire to own certain products without bearing the full financial burden, fueling the demand for appliance rental services. Astro AWANI correspondent Faye Kwan brings us more from LG Electronics R&D hub in Seoul.
The LG Magot Science Park is the biggest R&D complex in Seoul, South Korea, covering an area equivalent to 24 football fields with 21,000 workers. It's also set to expand with another 4,000 employees by the end of 2024, and it's tapped into the rental for home appliances, a market that has been steadily growing each year. Nam Hyun-suk, team leader of LG's subscription marketing team, shares the main driving force behind the expansion of its rental service for home appliances.
이거로 보시면 될 것 같아요. 정말 그 할부는 페이먼트만 뒤로 늦추는 거지만 구독이라는 걸 하게 됐을 때는 고객이 애프터 서비스도 무상으로 받을 수 있고 무상 워런티가 제공이 되고요. 두 번째는 여기서 메인테넌스라는 아니면은 집안의 일이라는 것에서 고객이 직접 하지 않아도 되고 매니저가 방문을 해서 버든이라고 그러죠. 버든 같은 것들을 전문가들이 직접 해준다라고 보시면 될 것 같고요.
The group has since expanded its rental program, also known as RentUp, in Malaysia. Sam Hu, head of marketing from LG Malaysia, discusses the response from local consumers.
In 2019, we have first launched the water purifier and air purifier, and we expanded to the 9 type of other product range in March of this year. So far, we have seen a bigger growth in the rental. It takes up 80% of our total sales. I would say the most popular item would be water purifier, air purifier, and the next would be the air conditioner. Because we have the heat wave in the early of March, right? So we see quite a huge spike in air conditioning.
For LG Malaysia, the demographics of its consumers in the RentUp program predominantly consists of individuals in their 20s to 30s.
We found the similarity with the Korean market here is that we have a younger customer nowadays, which is their acceptance level of the rental scheme is very high, and they might have a more commitment on hand, and rent up campaign really help them to ease their financial burden at a certain level.
Now that wraps up AWANI Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Saraya Mia, and we'll see you soon.
Semua ini adalah di luar imajinasi anda. Here we go. Look, you very underman. Here we come. You thought you took us down, we ain't done. We ain't getting over everything. Are you ready? It's only killers in my squad. I ain't steady. This is coming. This is coming. Are you ready? The Hardest Singing Show mulai 12 Mei 9 malam, siaran langsung di saluran berikut.